Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is everyone able to hear me?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, I can hear.
Great. Thank you for confirming. Yes. Hare Krishna, is everyone able to hear me?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Just give me one moment. I'll drop a message in our group stating that the class has started. Thank you all for joining today's session. Okay, so we'll quickly start the session by reciting the prayers. Anybody wants to take the lead in reciting the prayers? So anybody wants to take the lead in reciting the prayers? Anybody? Or else if you want me to continue, I'll start. Okay, fine. So please recite the prayers along with me at your place being on mute. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakayam Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sahujatam Sagarnaram Adamitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savrutam Pajanasitam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagalanta Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Name Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarani Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prem Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanyaya Namne Gauratase Namaha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostade तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नारायण नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् मुखं करोति वाचालं पवनं वन्दे गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दिनदारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining today. Okay, so who all joined today? Hare Krishna, Swapan Prabhu, we were missing you in few sessions. Thank you for joining today. Thank you, Priyanka Mataji, Madhurima Mataji, Sai Nita Mataji. Thank you for joining. Pooja Kataria Mataji, Shanti Tanaya Mataji, Dharmesh Prabhu, Krishna Rao Prabhu, Likit Letan, Lakshmi Mataji, Seema Thakur Mataji. Thank you all for joining today. So let's quickly start today's session. So anybody, can you guess what are we going to discuss today?
Shikshashtakam.
Okay, actually, as per the schedule on this date, that was to be discussed. However, we are lagging 2 classes behind. So we will be discussing Shikshashtakam later. However, we will cover up the topics which we were lagging. Okay. So what are the that we were lagging? Anybody? So by this date, we were supposed to finish two classes. One is the beginning of third chapter and the glories of Srila Jiva Goswami. Okay, so these were supposed to be covered. Okay, so today we will discuss about third chapter. Okay, so third chapter. How many of you know or heard or know something about third chapter? Okay, fine. So the third chapter is called Karma Yoga, which is very, very important. Okay. So Bhagavad Gita, first chapter is the Arjuna Vishada Yoga, observing the armies where Arjuna laments, he completely shows expresses his inability to counterattack the great personalities like Bhishma, Drona, and the Kuru Veeras. Okay. And the second chapter starts with again the lamentation of Arjuna. He's completely hesitant to war. Okay. However, Krishna starts teaching Arjuna, and before that, Arjuna admits himself to Krishna that, my dear Krishna, I want to become your disciple. So please let me know. Please teach me what is right, what need to be done. Okay, like that, Arjuna requests and surrenders to Krishna. Then Krishna starts speaking about what Arjuna needs to do. First of all, what knowledge he has to understand, and to after understanding that knowledge, what he needs to do, what is the perfect knowledge, and while performing the activities, how does one being on a path of intelligence will get rid of the karma reactions. These all Krishna starts speaking, and then Krishna also says what is the essence of Vedas, and what one should understand. The self-realization path one should understand. That is the essence of Vedas, like that Krishna teaches. And Krishna also tells Arjuna that by being with that knowledge, if one performs the karma, action, then that will not bind him. If one performs action without having that knowledge, then he is called as miser. Like that, Krishna keeps telling to Arjuna, and then he continues. Then Arjuna asks Krishna that my dear Krishna, how does a person who is self-realized behave? How does he eat, walk, and all those questions Arjuna asks? Then Krishna answers to Arjuna that a self-realized person will be always bliss, dwells in the the self-realized mode. That is, he assumes he perceives everything as the soul consciousness. He will be in a soul consciousness, and he behaves with everyone with that consciousness only. Like that, Krishna starts talking about a person who is in self-realized. That person's name is called, he is called as Sthita Prajna, who is completely self-realized with undeviated consciousness. Okay. And Krishna eventually tells Arjuna that what makes one person to fall down, what happens if one how does the senses dominate one's consciousness, and how to control, or if a person who is having a lot of faith, and with that faith, when he tries to control the senses, that's how the senses will be controlled. Like that, Krishna starts speaking to Arjuna. And in the whole second chapter is a description and a elaboration about the knowledge, what kind of knowledge one should learn, and with what intelligence one should perform the actions. That's what is being told by Krishna in the second chapter. Okay, now when it comes to the third chapter, Karma Yoga, so till here Krishna told about the intelligence part, how one should develop his intelligence, okay, which will eventually help him to get rid of the karmic reactions. Okay, then Arjuna, comes up with a question to Krishna, beginning of the third chapter. So Arjuna asks Krishna that, my dear Krishna, if you're telling that the intelligence, the buddhi is great, then why are you asking me to, involve in this war? He says, Jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhirjanardana tattim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava. Like that, Arjuna starts questioning Krishna. Okay. व्यामिश्रेण व्यामिश्रेणैव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसि इव मे तदेकं वाद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्. Like that, Krishna, Arjuna asks Krishna, my dear Krishna, when you're telling that the intelligence is the greatest thing to learn, then why should I involve in this war? I will just try to develop my intelligence. I will not, involve in war. But you're telling that I should improve my intelligence and at the same time do the war. So I'm just confused with your equivocal words. So please tell me, should I, strive for intelligence, or should I just leave this action and strive for intelligence only, or what to do? Again, Arjuna asks an intelligent question. So Krishna was telling that in second chapter, my dear Arjuna, just act with intelligence. If you just act a little, if you try to do actions with this intelligence, Krishna says in second chapter that Neha Vikramanashosti Pratyavayo Navidite Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahodobaya. Krishna says, just a tinge of knowledge, intelligence, if you apply and do action, then you will be saved out of greatest danger. So when he gives major importance, priority to intelligence, then Arjuna comes up with a question. So then let me try to, strive to develop my intelligence instead of involving in the war. Then Krishna starts speaking. Okay? So just give me one quick moment. Okay. Is everybody able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So the first question by Arjuna in third chapter, Arjuna Vacha, Jayasi chet karmanaste matha buddhir janardana tattim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava. Can anybody read the translation? Yeah, please go to Mataji.
Arjuna said, O Janardhana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work?
Thank you, Mataji. So next, Arjuna says, Vyamishrenaiva vakyena buddhim mohyasi me tadekam vada nischitya ena shreyohamapnuyam. Can anybody read the translation? Anybody else except Uma Mataji?
My intelligence is beloved by your
Equivocal instruction.
Equivocal instruction. Therefore, please tell me, decisively which will be most beneficial for me.
Beneficial for me. So Arjuna hence asking, my dear Krishna, which one do you want me to choose? Either intelligence or which is important? Okay, like that, Arjuna is asking Krishna. Then Lord Krishna starts speaking. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Lokesmin Jividhanishta Pura Prokta Maya Naga Jnana Yogena Sankyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Okay. So can anybody please read the translation?
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Right. Thank you. So Krishna starts from a very, very primary level, the preliminary level, we can say. So Krishna wanted to give a elaborated understanding to Arjuna where, from what one needs to start. Okay. So Krishna, firstly, he introduces two types of people. He says about two types of people. One is Jnani, one is Karma Yogi, who is eventually called as Bhakti Yoga as well. Bhakti Yogi as well. So these two classes of people should be understood. The Jnani part of category, the person who strives to understand God by analytical study, speculative study, that is one class. And another class is Karma Yogi, the Bhakti Yogi, who experiences God by serving him. Okay? So Krishna wants Arjuna to become and pick that path. Because most of them, they think that spiritual path is one thing, that we have to leave everything, then only we will grow in spiritual path. But that's not the correct answer. That's not the correct understanding. So spiritual path, spirituality means in whatever stage you are, in whatever work you are involved in whatever responsibilities you are in. Okay, whether you may be a grihastha, whether you may be a professional at a corporate, or whether you are a teacher, whether you are so and so, some responsibility you are involved in. Whatever responsibility you are in, you be in that responsibility, perform those responsibilities with a consciousness of God. Okay, and when you are performing those activities with consciousness of Krishna, then your karma, the karma becomes karma yoga. Okay. However, there is one class of people who are called Jnana Yogis. What they do, they study, the scriptures in an analytical manner, and they try to follow as per the scriptures. Okay. And their way of understanding is that God is some, great personality who cannot be visualized, or who cannot be seen by the eyes, the naked eyes. Okay. And they define God as Almighty. Of course, the definition is correct, but they don't experience God, personally. So once in Vrindavan, what happened? Krishna Balram, along with cowherd boys, he went to feed the cows. While they were feeding, while they were passing through, and while they were playing with the cows, and they allowed the cows to feed, Krishna, Balram, and his friends, they felt hunger. What they did? Then the close friends of Krishna, Subala, Madhumangal, and there are a few other close friends of Krishna. They asked Krishna, "My dear Krishna, we are feeling so hunger. We are so hungry. We want to eat something." Like that, they ask Krishna. Then Krishna tells them that nearby there is a village. Go to that village. You find some Brahmana families. You ask them that Krishna Balram is in the forest and they are feeling hunger. You ask them to give some food. Like that, Krishna instructs them. Then the close friends of Krishna, they go to the Brahmana families who are staying in nearby village. And when they approach the Brahmana families, they indulge in a ritualistic activity of fire sacrifice. Okay, so all the Brahmanas, they sit together and they starts doing the fire sacrifice by reciting hymns with a very, very beautiful tone. Okay. And when these close friends of Krishna, when they approach and when they start talking to them, and when they explain that Krishna, Balram, who are the great personalities, who are the saviors of Vrindavan, who perform many leelas, they describe about Krishna, Balram, and after describing about the glories of Krishna, Balram and the leelas of Krishna, Balram, then they ask for some food. Now they are feeling hungry. Now they want some food to eat. So please give us some food. Like that, they ask. They beg in another sense. But these Brahmanas who are indulged in fire sacrifice, they don't even care. They don't even speak to these close friends of Krishna. Then, the close friends of Krishna, they will become upset and they go back to Krishna and they inform Krishna that, "My dear Krishna, you asked us to asked us to approach them and beg. They are not even looking at our side. They doesn't even care us. We don't want to go we don't want to go and ask them like that. These friends inform Krishna. Then what Krishna says is that now you do one thing. You go to the same place, instead of asking the Brahmanas, you go to the wives of their, those Brahmanas, and you ask them, like that Krishna says. Then these friends, they say that no, no, we don't want to get humiliated again, like that these friends say. Then Krishna says, no, 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 you go, you go approach the wives of those Brahmanas and ask some food. Now you see what will happen. Then these cowherd boys, they goes to the same place and they approaches the wives of these Brahmanas, and they starts narrating, telling them that, we are the cowherd boys, we came along with the Krishna and Balaram. The moment they hear the name of Krishna and Balaram, the anxiousness in their eyes, like, a flower which blossoms when the sun, the sun rises, in that way, their eyes will glow and they will be so anxious to hear more about Krishna. And after that, they say, no, now Krishna and Balaram are hunger. They want to eat something like that. They say very spontaneously, these wives of Brahmanas, they start filling the some parts with, different foodstuffs. Actually, these foodstuffs were prepared to offer in the fire sacrifice. But these wives, before they are offered, they just fill some parts and they will run towards Krishna. And the husbands of Brahmana, these wives, they want them not to go, but they don't hear their instruction. They just jump, run towards Krishna to offer him the food. And when they approach and when they see Krishna, their hearts will, the love in their hearts will flow from them, and they embrace Krishna. They feel like, they have met their Lord, and they fall on the feet of Krishna. They talk to Krishna. They feel so fortunate that after so many days they met Krishna. Okay? In that way, they express their love towards Krishna. This is called the bhakti. Experiencing the God, experiencing the Lord, okay, with your feelings, personally. And, after Krishna eats the prasadam that they got, and Krishna instructs these, Brahmana wives to go back to their home and serve their husbands. And they reply to Krishna that, my dear Krishna, how can you say this to us? After a long time we saw you, we don't want to leave you. We are completely, we want to surrender to you. Like that they say, but Krishna says that, no, this is not the way you have to behave. You should go and serve your husbands, like that Krishna says. Then, with the heavy heart, they leave that place and go back to their husbands. And once they go to their houses, and once they meet their husbands, because the fire sacrifice cannot be completed without having a dharma patni, the wife. Okay, so once they finish the fire sacrifice, see the the complete yajna process, the fire sacrifice process goes with the beautiful hymns, rhythmical hymns, the Vedic hymns. And these hymns are description of the different forms of Lord. So what they do is they innovate the different forms of Lord, and they give some offering to those personalities via fire. Okay, so in that way, the different personalities, the different expansions of Lord, like Indra, Varuna, Chandra, all these personalities, they get feeded with that offerings, which has been offered in the fire sacrifice by reciting a Vedic hymns. So when they finish off this process, while they were reciting the hymns, they will, understand the meaning of those hymns, and then they will repent and regret that, this whole process, the Krishna, the whole process of fire sacrifice is meant to satisfy Supreme Lord. And that Supreme Lord who personally came to us, he visited us, and we missed a chance with our foolishness, with our, false ego. We missed a chance to meet that Supreme Lord. Though these people are, intellectuals, but their assumption of God is a different way. Whereas, the wives of these intellectuals, their assumption of God is a different way. And their assumption of God made them to attain the God himself personally. So this is the difference between the Jnanis and the Bhakti Yogis, Jnana Yogis and Bhakti Yogis. Eventually, the aim of Jnana Yogi should be a Bhakti Yogi. That should be the aim of a Jnana Yogi. Okay. And we should not underestimate any Jnana Yogi, those who are following the process of Jnana. So they are much, much billions and trillions far better than, people who are approaching the God just for, some fruitive, desires. Okay. So eventually they will turn, because, the essence of Jnana is to understand God. Okay. Understand God and understand the knowledge in his leelas, the tattva, whatever leelas that are performed by Krishna, Lord, those leelas, they carry a great secrets. The tattva, we say tattva means secret, the knowledge they carry, that they need to understand. Okay. So that is the difference between the two types of people. So eventually Krishna wanted Arjuna, and along with Arjuna, Krishna wanted all of us to become that Bhakti Yogis. The Bhakti Yogis. So here in this verse, it is mentioned as Lokesmin Dividanishta Pura Proktamaya Naga Jnana Yogina Sankyanam Karma Yogina Yogina. So the Karma Yogi eventually is nothing but Bhakti Yogi itself, because karma, if it is done to satisfy Lord, if it is done in connection to Lord, then that becomes karma yoga, which is nothing but bhakti only. And karma, which is done to satisfy your senses, which is done to fulfill your selfish desires, that will make you the only ritualistic karmi, which will eventually make you to travel in the life and death cycle again and again. Okay. So the same karma offered to God will help you to get rid. Same karma which is not offered to God, which will eventually make you to travel in the same trap of cycle, life and death. Okay. So next. Now, so Arjuna, the question, what was the question of Arjuna? Can anybody repeat?
He says, why should I do participate in the war? Like, I'll just improve my intelligence.
Right. Good. Thank you, Bharat. Okay. Then to that question, Krishna starts answering. Na karmanam anarambhan naishkarmyam purushosmate na cha sannyasana eva siddhim samadhi gacchati. Can anybody read the translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
So Krishna is clarifying that, just by leaving the karma, just by leaving the action, one will not become the perfect renunciant. So people will think that renunciant means those who doesn't do anything, but that is not the perfect renunciation. So henceforth, Krishna says, what is the perfect renunciation? Let's understand. Nahi kaschit shanam api jhatu tishtatya karma krit kriyate hyavasham karma sarva praktirjair gunai. Can anybody read?
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Please, Shanti Mataji, go ahead.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, nor even for a moment.
Right. So Krishna is again clarifying that, Arjuna, you're thinking that, living of actions is a better way. However, everybody is forced to do some or other activity. Okay, people who are, you're sitting and listening to this class. This is also an activity. Okay, if you would have not signed up to this class, you would have done something else, which may or may not be able to help you to progress in spiritual life. But this activity of you sitting in class and hearing is helping you to progress in spiritual life, which will eventually help you in to travel in spiritual path, okay, to get elevated to higher consciousness. Okay, so one or other activity, some or other activity, everybody is forced to do according to the modes of material nature. So we will discuss about these modes of material nature going further. Okay. Karmendriya. Then Krishna says, this is a the coming two slokas, 3.6 and 3.7 are very, very important for a beginners like us. Okay, if you can remember these two slokas, then in your spiritual path, whatever way, whatever level you are, you will be having confidence that yes, I'm also practicing spirituality. So whatever I'm practicing is right. Like that, you will get a wonderful feeling. Okay. So Krishna says, Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyartan vimudhatma mityacharasa uchyate. Can anybody read this?
Prabhuji, can I read?
Yeah, please, Saina Gita Mataji.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Right. So these days, you see many people, they pose as a great elevated spiritual personalities. They dress up like a mendicant. They wear tilka. They wear, different kind of ornaments which, symbolize the spiritual consciousness. Okay. However, but we don't know, are they really carrying the great spiritual consciousness within them or not? They may show off in front of us that they are elevated personalities, but once they become popular, and once many devotees surround them, and once they gift them with different opulent objects, then their conscious may get stolen away by those things, and they may fall down. But still, even though they fell down from the spiritual path, but they may pretend to be a renounced person. This is very, very tough to understand. A person who is pretending, and a person who pretends to be a elevated person, but not internally, but externally, that person is is called Mityachar. Krishna says that he's not even he cannot be, he's just like a rogue. The spiritual consciousness, the spiritual elevation means one, so the inner consciousness of you should be in a elevated manner where you externally and internally have the same kind of consciousness when you are behaving and when you are receiving, when you're dealing with the material world. So you will see these days, not only these days, from so many days, you will see many Babas coming, they pose like great personalities, but eventually, once they become popular, their true nature will come out. They take advantage of the popularity and they misuse that. So recently, I watched a film, I don't want to name the film, This film revolves around a great spiritual personality in India. Okay, this spiritual personality, he he had near about 2 crore, 20 million followers. That means 2 crore followers he had. He had many big ashrams. He acquired a lot of funds. And eventually what happened, he involved in child molestation. And a case was filed against him. Now he is behind the bars, and a lifetime imprisonment justice has been given to him. So these personalities who just pretend that we are elevated personalities, looking at their physical ambience, people who attract and go follow them, they get in and they get entrapped. And if you have to find out who is who is the right spiritual personality, or who is a real spiritual personality, then you have to, when you hear to him, if that personality is asking you to devote to God, who is asking to chant the holy names of God, who is making you to involve in chanting, glorifying, and serving the Lord, and along with you, if he also involves in that activity, then you should believe that he is a real spiritual personality. If one tells that, you just believe me, I will take care of everything, I am a true, I am nothing but God, like that, if somebody poses, if somebody says, and you should be aware of such personalities. So we see many such personalities. So Krishna is telling that those people who pretend to be spiritualists externally but not internally. They are externally, they pose as spiritualists, but internally they are not. That is called pretender. He is called Mithyachara. Okay. So we have to be aware of such people. And the next sloka, what Krishna says, is all about us, people like us. Okay. So he says, Krishna says, Istvindriyani manasa niyam yarabade Arjuna karmendriyahi karma yogam asaktasya vishishyate. Can anybody read this translation? Anybody? Yes, Subha Mataji.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior.
Oh,
Hare Krishna.
thank you, Mataji. Can anybody read the purport as well?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Instead of becoming a pseudo transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swartha Gati, or goal of self-interest, is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashrama is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. For self realization, one can live a controlled life as prescribed in the Shastras and continue carrying out his business without attachment, and in that way make progress. A sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show bottle spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan mediator who meditates only for the sake of making a living.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so I request all of you to read this sloka along with me, and I ask each one to recite this sloka. Okay, this is if you memorize this sloka, you will be you will have a kind of feeling that yes, I am also like we are all of us are involved in different activities professionally, personally. However, we all have a common thing that is we all have faith on God. We all have faith on Krishna at some level. Okay. However, so that faith of Krishna, which is in all of us, will eventually help us to get elevated from these material bondages. We, continue to have faith in the same way, and if we try to develop that faith. Okay, so it is not that it is far better the people who have maybe little faith, no problem, but still there is faith and they don't involve in Avedic activities, but they continue to have the faith. They are much more better than the people who pretend to be spiritualists, not internally. Okay, so I'll recite the sloka. Then I request one by one to recite this sloka, which is, I feel it is very important. If you so, please follow with me. Okay. Yastva indriyani manasa niyamyarabhate arjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam asakta savishishyate. I'll read word by word. Yes. Tva
Tva
indriyani
indriyani
manasa
manasa
niyamya
niyamya
arabhate
arabhate
arjuna
arjuna
karmendriyaihi
karmyehi
karma yogam
karma yogam
asaktaha
asaktaha
sa
sa
vishishyate.
vishishyate.
Okay, so yastvendriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam asakta savishishyate. Who wants to try first?
Yes, Prabhuji, I can try.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
Yastva indriyani manasa niyamabhrate arjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asakta savishishyate.
Thank you. Yes, Uma Mataji.
यस्त्व इन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य आरभते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् आसक्तः स विशिष्यते.
Thank you. Okay. So this word is a combination of two words. One word is niyamya and the next word is arabhate. Niyamya means regulating. Arabhate means begins. Aramba we say no. Aramba. Okay. In Sanskrit it says it is called as arabhate. Okay. Niyamya arabhate Arjuna. Okay. In that way you have to recite. So next.
I'll say Prabhuji.
Yeah, go ahead, Puja Mataji.
Yasya tu indriyani manasa niyama arbhate arjuna karma indriyani karma yogam ashtaha sah vishishyate.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Good try, Mataji. Next.
I can try, Prabhuji.
Please go ahead, Srimastu.
Yasvi indriyani manasa niyamya arabhate arjuna karmendriyai karma yogam ashakta sa vishishyate.
Thank you. Next.
I'll go ahead, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Shanti Mataji.
यस्त्व इन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य आरभते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते.
Perfect. Thank you, Mataji. Next.
Prabhu, I can try.
Please go ahead, Mataji.
यष्ट्व इन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियमार्भते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् अशक्तः च विशिष्यते.
Thank you, Madireva Mataji. Okay, who is there? Next.
Yeah.
Who wants to try next?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, yes, Mataji. After Lakshmi Mataji, Dharmesh Prabhu, you, please.
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगमसक्तः स विशिष्यते.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Dharmesh Prabhu.
यस्व इन्द्रियाणि मनसा निर्भयते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रिय कर्मयोगम् असक्ता स विशिष्यते.
Thank you, Dharmesh Prabhu. So who is left? Bharat Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yastva indriyani manasa niyamyarbate Arjuna karmendriya karmayogam ashakta sa
Thank you.
visishyate.
Thank you, Prabhu. He's not read yet. Krishna Rao Prabhu? Okay. Anita Mataji and Sapan Prabhu, would you like to try? Okay, fine. Uma Mataji, you raised your hand. You want to recite one more time? Okay, thank you. So I feel that this sloka, which encourages us, because, we are at some level of practicing Krishna consciousness. When we are practicing, when we go to temple or when we go to some or any, spiritual place, when we see, different people, different devotees, we may get, sometimes we may feel that, so my practice, my, way of sadhana is so, I'm not doing that much sadhana that these people are doing. Like that, we may get discouraged. But Krishna is saying for people like who are doing spiritual, who are at Krishna consciousness at some level, for all of them, Krishna is telling this, it's okay. It's okay to have, it's okay, whatever level you are continuing, please do continue that. And have strong faith in that level. Strong faith, with that strong faith, you still try to continue so that, eventually you will grow in your spiritual life. He is comparing the people who pretend, it is far, far, far better than pretenders that, those who carry some faith and, at Krishna consciousness. So that is what Krishna wants to clarify. So if you can memorize this sloka, so it will, I feel it's one of the important sloka. Okay. So next. So next Krishna says, Netam kuru karmatvam karma jayayo hyakarmana sharira yatra pichedena prasiddhiye akarmanaha. Anybody please read the translation?
Performing your pre-subscribed duty for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Yeah. So Krishna is again reminding Arjuna that, my dear Arjun, you are supposed to do the actions that are prescribed to you. As a Kshatriya, what are the actions prescribed to you? You have to perform. So it is not only to a Kshatriya, for all of us, whatever level we are, a professional, grihastha, whoever we are, whatever duties that are prescribed, in the role which we are in, we have to carry those duties with faith on Krishna. Okay. And one cannot skip those because one has to somehow work to maintain his physical body, right? So that's it. And Krishna is again insisting that, you cannot skip doing an action because you have to do some action to maintain your body, physical body. And when at the same time, when Krishna says to Arjuna that when he insists that you have to do some or other action to at least maintain your body, and now Krishna is clarifying to Arjuna with this sloka that in what way we have to perform those actions. So Krishna says, Yajnartat karma nonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Can anybody read the translation? Anybody?
I'll read Prabhuji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Dharmesh Prabhu.
Work done as sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in the material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay. So here, in this purport, there is no name of Vishnu. It says Yajnartat karmanon yatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. So there is no word of Vishnu, but Prabhupada, he translates that work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. So in the scriptures, it is said that exclusively in Vishnu Sahasranama, which is 1,000 glorification of 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. Okay, it is said that Krishna, Yajno, Yajnapatir Yajva, Yajnyango, Yajnavahana, Yajnamrut, Yajnakrit, Yajni, Yajnamuk, Yajnavahan, Yajnantakrit, Yajnaguhya Manna Mannada Evacha, it is said. So it is glorified Lord Vishnu as the owner of Yajna, as the receiver of Yajna, as the enjoyer of Yajna, as the performer of Yajna. So whichever yajna, the fire sacrifice that you perform, that we perform, which is prescribed in the Vedas, they are all meant to satisfy Lord Vishnu. Is none other than Krishna. Okay, because he is the supreme enjoyer. If he is satisfied, all other personalities, all other expansions will get satisfied. Because Lord himself expands into different personalities. When you come across to the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will get to know in what and all expansions Lord expands to bless us, to help us. Okay, so the yajna process happens like this. Fire sacrifice happens like this. They start the fire sacrifice, and so they offer, as I told, they offer different offerings to the different expansions of Lord. And why that should be done, that we understand in the upcoming sloka. Okay. So this is also one of the important sloka, I feel. I mean, all are important in Bhagavad Gita. Each and every sloka is important. However, which I like personally, that I am putting. So Krishna hence says to Arjuna that Sahayajna prajasruštva puro vacha prajapati anena prasavishyadhvam esha vostva ishtakam adhik. Can anybody read the translation? Anybody? Yes, Uma Mataji.
In the beginning of the creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation."
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Well, no, thank you, Mataji. So here Krishna is clarifying. In the beginning, when the creation started, okay, so after a long period, when Brahma starts creating the jivas, okay, so first he creates the Narada Muni, Sanat Kumaras, then Saptarshis, then the different demigods. Demigods means, the meaning of demigod means personalities who are not completely God, but they act as pure representatives of the God, like Indra, Varuna, Chandra, Aditya, Ashwini Devatas, and Marutas, and the other personalities, other different devatas, they all are pure representatives of Lord. They all help us, okay, with different benedictions. For example, if we have to live happily in this material world, we have to take food timely, okay, and in order to take food timely, we should have enough food grains available for us to cook and eat, okay. And in order to have enough food grains, we need to have rains falling on a timely basis, not too extra, not too low, no, okay. So the rains should fall on a timely basis, I mean in a seasonal order, okay. And in order to for, I mean, if we want to have the rains falling on a seasonal basis, then the demigods who represent the rain, the Varuna, okay, he should be satisfied with our activities. Varuna, the Panchabhutas, the 5 elements, okay, earth, water, fire, ether, and the one more,
Air.
yeah, air.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Water,
5,
air, earth, water, air,
ether,
fire, air, ether.
yeah, 5. So the 5 elements, the 5 Panchabhutas should be satisfied. They should be taken care. We should not pollute them. If we pollute them, so they don't bless us with the required, benedictions. So they don't, help us to grow enough foodstuffs for our happily living. And in the beginning of the creation, when the Lord created the devatas and human beings, and devatas are nothing but they are different expansions, they are different roles, okay, and they also change. For example, Indra, the role of Indra is there, okay, in this millennium, in this yuga, in this kalpa, okay, he will continue. When the Mahapralaya happens, okay, when everything will be, when the Mahapralaya happens, when the yuga cycle completes, then everybody will get devastated, including the Devatas as well. Okay, when the next kalpa begins, when the Brahma starts, and in the role of Indra, a different soul will come and sit. Those who, we are human beings, we perform different activities. If we perform some activities, okay, there are some prescribed activities in Vedas. If we perform those activities in the prescribed number, then we get eligibility to become Indra. I mean, we become eligible to get the role of Indra, to sit in the role of Indra. And once that kalpa is finished, again, the soul will, if the soul who is sitting in the role of Indra, if he performs, if he acts according to, if he does pure devotion service, then he will elevate. And when the Mahapralaya happens, and again everything when it devastates, again when the creation starts, again, whichever soul is eligible to occupy the Indra's role, that soul will come and sit in the Indra's role. So they also keeps changing. They are not, constant personalities. So when the creation was started, Lord, what he did is he implemented a process. Mutually, he gave a process to Devatas and the human beings, that both of you please mutually be happy by exchanging different processes. Like, we perform the yajna, the 5 sacrifice processes. We offer different oblations to the Devatas, and they take that, and they become happy, and they bless us with different benedictions that to lead a happy human life. In that way, these mutual process has been given to us, which is fire sacrifice. So one is expected to perform this fire sacrifice, which is meant to satisfy the devatas, different personalities. Okay, so that one should understand. And see, nowadays that scientists say that they use the 5 elements of the nature, the earth, air, fire, ether, the water. They use to their full extent. They pollute them and they leave, and they don't know how to stop the pollution or how to rectify the pollution. But the Vedic process is one process which is been introduced to us by the Supreme Personality himself, is a process of, rectifying the pollution which we create to the Prakriti, the 5 elements. Okay, when we say this, the modern scientists, they laugh on us. Because they say that, when you burn something, carbon dioxide releases. And carbon dioxide is not good for health. If we inhale carbon dioxide, then that is not, that will harm your health. However, there was once, in India, in 1980s, there was an incident which took place, which really gave the, which is a proof of the power of fire sacrifice. How many of you heard the incident which took place in Bhopal?
Yes, Prabhu, have heard. Gas tragedy.
Yeah. So gas tragedy in Bhopal. So many of us might have heard. Yeah. So we all know that there was a company which which was some chemical company, whatever it may be. Huge gas got leaked out of that company, and whoever was residing nearby that company, they could not. After inhaling that, they fell to death. But there was one family, Brahmin family, who was who used to perform this fire sacrifice daily. That is called as Nitya. They are called as the people who daily perform the fire sacrifice. They are called as Nitya Agnihotras. So they thought that however we are going to die, anyways we can't run so far that so let us sit in our home and let us perform this fire sacrifice. That's what they thought, and they started doing the fire sacrifice. And when they started doing the fire sacrifice, the fumes which came out of this fire sacrifice, they purified the air in their house. Okay, thank you, Lakshmata. Union Carbide Limited. Okay, yeah. So the one such company called Union Carbide Limited. So because of their mistake, a lot of them had to suffer death. But there was one family who escaped the death just because of fire sacrifice. By doing fire sacrifice, the air got purified, and they were able to inhale pure oxygen. And people thought that everybody who was residing nearby that factory, all of them might have dead, but for their shock, these people were alive, and they inquired, they questioned what did they do, and they told them that this is what they did. So that is a proof of fire sacrifice. Uh, what happens when one does fire sacrifice? That is the reason, when we leave, when we use the 5 elements of the nature, we pollute them. How to rectify the pollution is that, the fire sacrifice. By doing so, the nature will get purified. This has been proven scientifically, but people don't understand, and we leave it to them. Okay. So next, so by doing so, what happens? By doing so, by doing the fire sacrifice with a mode of no selfishness, then Devan, this will happen. The Devan bhavayatanena de deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsyate. Can anyone read the translation?
The demigods being pleased by sacrifices will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will regain for all.
Yeah.
Right.
So we do the fire sacrifice to satisfy demigods, and they bless us with whatever needs that we need. They bless us with them, and eventually both of us will prosper. Okay. So that is the mutual process which has been given to us. We have to follow that. Okay, which will make the demigods happy. Eventually, they make us happy. Okay. Then Krishna says, Istan Bogan hi vodeva dasyante yagya bhavita dairdattana pradayebhyo yobung testena evasa. Can anyone read this translation?
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied by the performance of their sacrifice will supply all necessity to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
So Krishna is confirming here. He introduced a process of mutual happy. Okay. If one doesn't, follow that process of offering the different offerings to the, God before they enjoy, then that person is called thief. Stena eva saha. Stena, thief. Whatever we, whether we eat or whether we, before we eat, we offer food to God. The reason why? Because, we acknowledge the gratitude that, my dear God, this is blessing of you, because of which I am living my life, I am leading my life happily. Like that, if you don't acknowledge, if you don't get your food purified, then if you just eat just like that, then that is nothing but a theft. So we are supposed to offer back to God whatever we enjoy, whatever we have. Okay, and so it is one important, in this one moment. So in this purport, Prabhupada also reminds us about a process. There are 5 yajnas which are prescribed to us. Those 5 yajnas we are supposed to follow. Okay, here, can anybody read from here? Can anybody read this?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
For ordinary men, at least 5 yagnas known as Pancha Mahayagna are necessary. The next paragraph also you want me to read?
Yeah, yes, Mother.
One should know, however, that all the necessities of life that the human society require are supplied by the demigod agent of the Lord. No one can manufacture anything. Take, for example, all the eatables of human society. These eatables include grains, fruits, vegetables, milk, sugar, etc. For the persons in the mode of goodness, and also eatables for the non-vegetarians like meats, none of which can be manufactured by men. Then again, take, for example, heat, light, water, air, etc., which are also necessities of life. None of them can be manufactured by the human society. Without the Supreme Lord, there can be no profuse sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, etc., without which no one can live. Obviously, our life is dependent on supplies from the Lord.
Okay.
Even for our Okay, Prabhu, have a
Yeah,
question.
thank you, brother. Okay, so here an important thing is, told by Srila Prabhupada. For ordinary men, at least 5 yajnas known as Pancha Mahayajna are necessary. So let's see what these Pancha Mahayajnas are there. So one is expected to do these 5 Mahayajnas. These are not exactly the fire sacrifices, but they are called as yajnas because these are to be done without any selfish motive. Okay, and these 5 yajnas are Deva Yajna, Pitru Yajna, Athithi Yajna, Bhuta Yajna, and Deva Brahmana Yajna. Okay, Deva, Brahmana, Pitru, Aditi, Bhuta Yajna. These 5 Mahayajnas are, everyone should perform. Everyone can perform also. Okay, so Deva Yajna means honoring the, God. Okay, whether you offer something or whether you have faith or whether you respect, honor, whether you chant holy names. Okay, in that way you can honor, you can do this yajna. The Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that yajnanam japa yajnosmi, the greatest yajna that you can do to satisfy God is doing japa, chanting the holy names of Lord. So in that way you can satisfy the devatas. Okay, so one yajna, Deva Yajna, can be done by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Okay. Next comes Brahmana Yajna. Sorry, next comes Pitru Yajna. Okay, so the Pitru Yajna is called, offering timely, doing timely Shraddha Karma to our ancestors. Okay, and our ancestors, those who were our ancestors in our family, when they depart from their, when their souls depart to the Pitraloka, okay, 2 things will satisfy them. Okay, not even 2 things, 1 thing will satisfy them. Okay, so 2 things, what I said is 2 things. One is performing the Shraddha Karma timely, that is 1 thing. And second thing, if one follows the spiritual path. For example, you are listening to this class with an interest and motive to learn what is spirituality, what is the self-realization, what is the connection between us and God, how do I please, how do I serve God. With this motivation, you are listening to these classes. You are trying to understand the scriptures. And this way of your life will satisfy your Pitru Devatas. They may have departed, they may have taken they may have incarnated in different lives also. But still, there is one category of Devatas, they are called Pitru Devatas. Okay, so they represent your ancestors. If you, follow a pure life, and those Pitru Devatas, they become very happy. They will bless you, as well as they will bless your ancestors who has taken a different life as well. Okay, so that is what your way of performing, your way of following the spiritual path will make your ancestors, will make the Pitru Devatas to be happy. Okay, and that is how, following understanding, inquiring about the purpose of life, doing devotional service to Lord will satisfy the Pitru Yajna. Next comes the Brahmana Yajna. So we see the Brahmanas are Brahmanas are considered as head of the society. In those days, in olden days, Brahmanas, they never used to involve in any kind of earning activities other than the priestly activities, because the Brahmanas are so Brahmanas, it is prescribed to Brahmanas that daily they have to perform fire sacrifice, and they have to perform some Trikala Sandhya Vandan, it is said, and their life should be dedicated in pleasing the God for the sake of them and the society where they are living. Because they Purohita means they perform the activities of Purohita. Purohita means Pura means the public. Hita means those who, the Hita means the well-wish. A person who is the well-wisher of other people is called Purohita. So his life should be meant for well-wishing of others' lives. So a person who lives in that way, that person should be taken care. And never we should think that I am giving some charity to Brahmana. When you are giving something to a Brahmana, you should keep that in such a mode that it is my responsibility. I am fulfilling my responsibility. With that motive, you have to give something to a Brahmana. Okay, so that makes the Brahmana Yajna, that satisfies the Brahmana Yajna. Okay, and next comes the Atithi Yajna. Atithi Yajna means, Atithi means a person who visits to your home on a particular tithi and leaves your home on a particular tithi. For example, today is one. I guess it is. I guess all of you know the tithis of our Hindu calendar. Padyami, Vidya, Tadiya, Chauthi, Panchami, Shashti, Saptami, Ashtami, Navami, Dashami, Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Trayodashi, Chaturdashi, Paurnami, Amavasya. We have about 16 tithis. Okay. If a person comes to your home on a particular day, for example, Paurnami, he comes on a day of Paurnami and he leaves your home on the same day, Paurnami day itself. He is called Atithi, not the person who visits your home and stays in your home for weeks and months and years. No, that person is not called Atithi. Atithi means a person who comes to your home, visits to your home on the same tithi and he leaves on the same tithi. That person is called Atithi. Okay, and that Atithis should be taken care. You should arrange good food to them. You should serve them. Maybe he might be an enemy to you, but still you should serve them. So that's how the Atithi Yajna will be satisfied. And the last Bhuta Yajna. So if you are living peacefully, if you are sleeping peacefully in your home at the night, so there are many, different animals who help you. For example, if a thief trying to jump into your home, if there is a street dog who barks on him, then the thief may run away. In that way, these animals, they help. Okay, so the different animals are there. We also have to take care of them. I mean, show some concern that, it's not that we have to bring all those animals and keep in our house and make them sleep on our lap. No, just show concern. That is expected. So in that way, the Bhuta Yajna, the Pancha Maha Yajnas, can anybody tell me what are those Pancha Yajnas that we were discussing?
Deva, Pitra, Atithi, Brahman, Bhuta.
Oh. Deva, Pitru, Brahmana, Atithi, and Bhuta Yajna. Okay, so these 5 sacrifices one should for sure have to perform. Okay, so the 5 sacrifices, the yajna process, all of us will not have that eligibility to do that. But these 5 sacrifices, every individual human being can do. They can do. It can be done. It's not so hard to do. But this is what is expected from every human being who has taken human form of life. Okay. So if everyone does these 5 yajnas, then there won't be any scarcity of food. There won't be anybody who is spared out of, who is dying out of hunger. So that's the reason God has prepared us so many processes to mutually be happy. Okay. So next Krishna says, Yajnasishtasya santo munjate sarvakilbishai bunjate tvagam papam yepa chantyatmakaranat. So now Krishna is telling that what happens if a person doesn't follow those prescribed processes. Can anybody read this translation? Hare Krishna.
Devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment rarely eat only sin.
So those who eat food without offering to Lord, they are eating, they may be thinking that they are eating their favorite food stuff, but it is nothing but sin. However, you might get a question that, see, we don't have such atmosphere at home to offer food daily to Lord. It's okay, that's fine. However, whenever you are eating anything, just remember, just memorize that the food is being blessed to you by God. Just chant Lord's name, Sri Vishnu, and eat. Maybe that may not be offered in a suggested process, but still you're just chanting the holy names of Lord and eating because you don't have such atmosphere of doing it in a right process, but still you're following a process with which you're still acknowledging. That is also fine. So here it is said, Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat, annasam bhavajnat bhavanti parjanyo yajna karma samudbhava. Can anybody read this? Anybody who did not read it? Yeah, yes, Lakshmi Mataji.
अन्नाद् भवन्ति भूतानि पर्जन्यादन्न संभवा यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यो यज्ञकर्म समुद्भवा.
Yeah, read the translation as well, Mataji.
All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna or sacrifice, and yajna is one of prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So as we were discussing that, the fire sacrifice, when the fire sacrifice is the cause for rains to fall on a seasonal manner. So if there is a lot of pollution that is created in the atmosphere, then the rains will stop falling. We will not have enough rains. However, this fire sacrifice is one pure sacrifice which is being prescribed in scriptures to make sure the rains happen on a seasonal, timely manner in a required, in the required mode. So Krishna says, Karma Brahmodbhavam Vidhi Brahma Samudbhavam Tasma Sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yajna Pratishtitham. Can anybody read this?
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
So all these sacrifices all these practices which are being prescribed to us are prescribed in Vedas. And these Vedas are the sound when Brahma, when he closed his eyes, when he heard sound, and that sound he documented, that is called Vedas. And those Vedas, that was initially, it was one, eventually, by Vyasadeva, he compiled, he divided it into three, and one of his disciple, he again divided one more Veda from those three. So the Vedas are four. Initially one, later three, after that four. So all these processes are described in the Vedas. Okay. So we'll stop after the 3.17 sloka. So Krishna says, Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayatiha yaha aghairindriya aramo mogam partasa jivati. So my dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly leads to a life full of sin, living only for the satisfaction of the senses. Such a person lives in vain. So these days, the modern people who just reject the scriptures, and they lead a life without any concern, without any honor to the scriptures. They are leading a life nothing but sinful life. However, see, there are many, the 5 sacrifices prescribed, and the Pancha Mahayagna is prescribed, and how to satisfy Devatas is prescribed. However, this may or may not be possible for everyone to do. There are certain people for whom there is an exemption given, even if they don't follow this, they will still be considered highly elevated. So who are those? Let's understand. So these are the classes of people. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
For Vaishnavas, like we should not follow this thing because we are.
Yeah. So this sloka confirms that. Yastvatmaratir eva syat atmatruptascha manava atmanyeva cha santushta tasya karyam na vidyate. So can you read this translation, Mataji, Sima Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty.
Okay. Can you read the purport as well?
Sure. A person who is fully Krishna conscious and is fully satisfied by his acts in Krishna consciousness no longer has any duty to perform. Due to his being Krishna conscious, all impurity within is instantly cleansed, an effect of many thousands of yajna performances. By such clearing of consciousness, one becomes fully confident of his eternal position in relationship with Supreme. His duty thus becomes self-illuminated by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he no longer has any obligations to the Vedic injunctions. Such a Krishna-conscious person is no longer interested in material activities and no longer takes pleasures in material arrangements like wine, women, and similar infatuations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, those who are self-realized, those who are Krishna conscious, for them, these processes are exception. Okay, it doesn't mean that they should not follow. It means that their pure life of being Krishna consciousness will satisfy all these processes, because in Pancha Mahayagnas it is told that Devatas should be satisfied, and Krishna himself told that the greatest yajna one can follow, one can do is Japa Yajna. By doing Japa Yajna, by chanting the holy names of the Lord, Devatas are satisfied. And a person who is in Krishna consciousness, he always chants the Lord's name, in a prescribed manner. That is satisfying one of the yajna. And the devotee, what he does, he always, since he is living since he is trying to understand the knowledge of self-realization, and he is trying to learn scriptures, and the Pitrus are satisfied. Because it is said that if in a family lineage, if one person is self-realized, at least minimum 3 generations of his are delivered. It is prescribed in Shastras, like when, Prahlad Maharaj, when, Hiranyakashipu was killed by Narsingadev, when Prahlad Maharaj asks Lord Narsingadev that, my dear Lord, please deliver my father, because he led a sinful life, but please, since he was my father, he gave birth to me, please deliver him. Like that, Prahlad Maharaj requests Narsingadev. Then Narsingadev tells that, not only your father, 3 of your generations are already delivered. Like that, it has been said. So when one follows the spiritual path, from in his family lineage, at least 3, it may go up to any number. Okay, they are delivered. In that way, when a person is Krishna consciousness, the Pitru Yajna is already, the satisfaction to Pitru is been happening. And and a person leads a pure Krishna conscious life, he takes care of Brahmanas as well. And a Krishna conscious person is always eager to distribute prasadam. Whoever comes to his house is always eager to give some prasadam. Okay, and he doesn't harm any animals. So the Bhuta Yajna can be done. At least if you don't feed them, just stay away of killing them. If that is done, then Bhuta Yajna is also satisfied. Obviously, the 4 regulated principle is not to kill, not to indulge in any himsa. So the Krishna conscious person is already done. So those who are in a path of self-realization, those who are in Krishna consciousness, for them these yajnas, they're already done. They don't have to do it separately. Because of their pure life, all those are okay. Thank you, Mataji. No, yeah, thank you. Yes. Prahlad Maharaj, 21 generations were delivered. I was just telling the least number, at least 3 generations based on their level of devotion, at least 3 generations will be delivered, but it may go up to any number. So in Prahlad Maharaj's case, it was 21 generations. So, a person being Krishna consciousness, if a person tries to live with Krishna consciousness, all these prescribed sacrifices are already done. So that's the reason it is very, very important for a human form of life to become Krishna consciousness. Because see, when you step into an organization, you have to follow certain rules. When you step into a university, you have to follow certain rules. When you step into a family, you have to follow certain rules. So wherever you go, you have to follow some certain, rules and regulations. So don't you think that, when you step into this material world, why shouldn't we think that there are some prescribed rules that need to be followed when we are in material world? For every, some sort of community, when there are certain rules, for such a huge community of human society, don't you think that there should be some rules and regulations? This, obviously the devotees, people like you understand, but the non-devotees, they don't understand, hence they indulge, in sinful activities. So here, in this the chart, the reason why I was taking you through sloka by sloka is the 3rd chapter is very, very important chapter. Because we all are karmis. We do some sort of activity in our day-to-day life. However, while doing those activities, if we have a pure consciousness of acknowledging it to God, that itself helps us to elevate. That is itself helps us to progress in our spiritual life. That is the reason, every sloka of third chapter is very, very important. I tried my best to walk you through few slokas, but we will eventually, go through all the slokas of third chapter. Okay. So that is the reason. So when you understand these processes, when you understand the importance of these sacrifices that we are expected to do, okay, it is not that you have to leave something. You have to do everything whatever being prescribed to you. Only thing is that you have to have a consciousness of to whom we are acknowledging it to. That's it. You can get married. You can have good time with your life partner. You can enjoy with the life partner by undergoing a prescribed Vedic ritualistic process of marriage. You can enjoy with the life partner and beget children. Okay. You can eat whatever foodstuffs that you like by offering to God, and you can earn money in the way without cheating anybody. You can earn, and some small portion you can donate according to your convenience. Okay, and you can definitely have good relationship with your relatives, whoever, whatever it may be, as long as they are also God conscious. And nothing is being asked us to stop doing. Krishna wants us to do everything. Only thing is that he wants us to add the consciousness. That's it. That is called the Karma Yoga. Actions doing with the consciousness of God, with a mood of acknowledging to God, with a mood of self-realization is called Karma Yoga. Actions doing without all these things is called just the karma, which will not help us to get out of this material world. Okay. So in the next class, we will further discuss about this karma yoga, which is very, very important, I feel. Okay. So here today I want to stop. I've taken some half an hour extra time. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, you can ask.
Hari Prabhu, Prabhuji, thank you for such a nice explanation.
Thank you, Mataji. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. So if anybody has any questions, you can ask.
Prabhuji, because of Srila Prabhupada only we got this clarification about the Karma Yoga, right?
Yes, Mataji. Because Karma Yoga, eventually nothing but Bhakti Yoga. So Srila Prabhupada focuses much on this because Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita that Mam cha yoga vicharena bhakti yogena sevate brahma bhuya kalpate, he says. Okay. So Krishna prescribes the Bhakti Yoga. That's the reason Srila Prabhupada emphasizes on this Bhakti Yoga. Yes, Satya Prasad Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu.
Haribol Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, please share your inputs.
I just want to share one small story which I heard.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
I was listening to Gauranga Prabhu's lecture. My voice is clear, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Prabhu. Your voice
Yes,
is
Prabhuji.
clear. Your video is also clear.
Yeah, so I was just listening to Gauranga Prabhu's class. There was a small story. So there was one miser. And this man had lots of money. He did not want to give any of his money to anybody. So he was a total miser. So one day he was going on a boat. He was crossing the river. So he came to the center of that river, and then he pulled out his wallet and he was counting his money. When he was counting his money, one coin fell into the river. So since he is a miser, he doesn't want to lose even one bit of money. So immediately he jumped into the river, tried to pick up that coin, but he did not know how to swim. So he was raising his hand, and then the other person who was there, he's saying, "Give me your hand, give me your hand, give me your hand." So this man is not giving his hand. Then the person who was rowing the boat, he says, "This man is a miser. He does not know how to give. He knows only how to take. You tell him, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand, he will catch. And then he said, take my hand, take my hand, take my hand. He caught hold of that hand and he was saved. So Karma Yoga is like that. Whatever you give, it comes back. Whatever you take also comes back. So if you are a miser, so you only have to take, you don't know anything else. So this was very nice. I thought Karma Yoga was very nice one.
Yeah. The same activities, will bind us, will relieve us just because of changing the consciousness. Thank you for sharing such a wonderful story, bro. Thank you very much. Okay. So anybody has
there is one thing that there is one mention. You mentioned about the Pancha Mahayajna.
Yes, bro.
So Pitru Yajna, Brahma Yajna, Deva Yajna, and everything else.
Yeah.
So even if you don't do any of these yajnas, is it sufficient that you do chanting and you are covering all these Pancha Mahayajnas?
Okay, so yeah, if you just chant, all these are satisfied, or what is your question, right?
Yes, because that is what even Srila Prabhupada also says. You
Yeah.
don't need to do any of these things. You keep chanting. If you give all your work to Krishna, then you don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
So even when you are doing this chanting, you are relieving your ancestors.
Yes.
When you are doing chanting, you are satisfying the devas. When you are doing chanting, you are satisfying the bhutas. And when you are doing the chanting, you are also satisfying the Brahma. So when you are doing this chanting in such a sincere way, why? I mean, is it whatever you do, even if you don't do Panchamahayajna, it is as good as doing Panchamahayajna.
Correct.
So because when you are chanting, you are not killing, you are not doing anything, you are taking
Correct.
care of all the things. So this is according to the Vedanta Sutras that you have to do the Panchamahayajnas. But over and above the Panchamahayajnas, over and above the Vedanta Sutra is this chanting. So is chanting sufficient for any person to finish, as a representative of Panchamahayajna?
Yes, Prabhu, absolutely. Because, amongst the Panchamahayajnas, the first yajna is Deva Yajna. Okay. So that can be satisfied by chanting. Okay. When you chant, okay, obviously, you only told that we don't, the way, the mood, that you carry out while chanting is, distributing prasadam. You don't eat just like that, where you eat in the association of devotees, okay, and you respect others, and you respect the brahmanas who worship Lord, okay, and you also respect the other bhutas as well, the animals as well. We don't harm them. We don't, even in dream also, we don't expect to harm the animals. In that way, chanting and the mood that you carry out while chanting, will eventually satisfy all these yajnas. Because you cannot just chant like that, right? You have to eat, you have to associate with devotees, you have to, deal with the material world. Okay, while dealing, when you are chanting with pure consciousness, so you will, these yajnas are automatically satisfied, because you will carry the same mood while you're dealing with all these 5 things. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Oh, yes, that is what even Srila Prabhupada also says.
Yeah. Because, if you just keep chanting and, if somebody comes and asks you something, no, I don't give anything. I don't have an habit of giving something to anybody. I don't share prasadam. Then there is no use of you chanting. Then that is not, the pure way of chanting. That will not help you to elevate in spiritual life, right? So chanting also, there are some prescribed way of attitude that you need to carry out while chanting is also important. Yes, Lakshmi Mata, you had any question?
Krishna Prabhuji, generally in every ISKCON discourse, generally they tell Lord Shiva as a demigod, no? Why Lord Shiva is mentioned as demigod every time?
I don't know where you heard, Mataji. However, see, in Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva is not a demigod. Okay? Lord Shiva is as good as Lord Vishnu himself. It has been confirmed by Lord Vishnu in Bhagavatam when Daksha Yajna happened. Okay, I will show you the proof. When Daksha Yajna happened, when there were two parties, one were supporting Lord Shiva, one party was supporting,
Daksha.
Lord Vishnu.
Mhm.
Lord Vishnu. So when Lord Vishnu appears to compromise both the parties, then he explains that me, Lord Shiva, Brahma, you assume that we three are different personalities, but in fact the tattva is that we are one and the same. But just to perform different activities, we appear in three personalities. Like that, Lord Vishnu, he explains. So it is been, yeah, it has been said that in Brahma Samhita it is said Kshiram Dhadiyata Vihaya Vikara. He says, the same milk which is turning into curd for a different purpose, in the same way, the same Lord, assuming into a different personality to perform a different activity. So you cannot say curd is not a milk product.
Okay. So
Okay.
this is within Dakshayaga, the fourth
Yeah,
canto.
that's it. I'll give you the reference also.
Yeah, it's in fourth canto, right?
Yeah, yes, Mother. Until the exact number of slokas, where it is mentioned. And
Yeah.
Prabhupada gave purports to that. But some, because some might have told, but that doesn't mean that everybody has that same consciousness. But Shiva, Lord Shiva, should be considered as equal as Vishnu. Okay, fourth canto, seventh sloka, it is said. So,
Can
fourth
chap
canto,
seven.
seventh chapter.
Seventh chapter.
Yeah, seventh chapter.
Prabhuji will find. Okay. I
Yeah,
shall.
T2.
After Dakshayaga,
Yeah.
Vishnu will come down. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
See here. Can you see the screen, Mataji?
Yeah, Lord Vishnu replied, Brahma, Lord Shiva, and I are supreme cause of the material manifestation. I can't see the screen fully. I am the
Super soul, the self-sufficient witness, but impersonally, there is no difference between Brahma, Lord Shiva, and me.
okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. So
This is seventh chapter. Okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam, fourth canto, seventh chapter, 50 to 54 slokas, it has been explained the tattva. So amongst the devotees also, they have different consciousness. Okay. So we go with the scriptural reference. Whatever I said, I showed you the reference from scripture.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Welcome. So anybody, any other questions?
Prabhuji, I have a question. When Arjuna asked that question, Prabhuji, the answer was like, by action, one cannot be perfect. So, by action only, we are not eating non-veg, we are eating veg, we are doing japa. So, with action only, we are doing sattvic karma number. But as Krishna consciousness, by chanting, by bhoga offering, we are above than people who eat vegetarian but don't chant. And so still they are also performing action on you. What loka they will go, Prabhuji? It's a Swarga loka or like
Yeah. Okay. So those who perform actions without any consciousness of God or without acknowledging anything to God. So if there are, certain atheists who does some good work to the society, uh, okay, maybe like, doing some good deeds, educating somebody, or building some hospitals, or food distribution, but without any God consciousness. So these kind of people, they eventually come back to the human form of life, and they will lead the human form. They'll keep on revolving in the life and death cycle. But they will get, since they have did some good deeds, so they will take birth in a good family, with a good family background, and all those stuff will happen. And the people who doesn't do even those good karmas, though, people who lead a very sinful life of cheating people, and involving and breaking all four regulative principles, they eventually go to hellish planets, and they will have to suffer the punishments, okay, for their sins that they have performed. And after that, there is no way that they might get a human form of life. They may get a animal form of life, because all their life they lived it to satisfy their bodies, whereas animals also does in the same way. So they will be given an animalistic body so that they can satisfy their body again without any rules and regulations. Okay, so these two things will happen. People who don't believe, who don't have this consciousness.
There is a lady who makes YouTube videos. She is Muslim. But
What is that, Mataji? I couldn't hear you.
there is a lady who makes YouTube videos. She is Muslim. But she makes non-veg food and she distributes in poor people. So where she can go, Prabhuji, in local?
You're asking question that what happens to those who eat non-veg? Is that your question?
Unless she makes non-veg and distributes in poor people.
Okay, okay. So those who prepare non-veg dishes and distribute to the people. Okay. So even then the himsa is happening, no? So they are making other animals to suffer. So the like people who involve in such himsa, killing of animals, though they eat or they distribute to others, they will have to undergo process of getting killed by the same animal. Mamsa, the meaning of mamsa means I kill you and I give permission to you to kill me in my next life.
So whatever food they are eating right now, that many times they have to die. So that many animals they are eating.
Yeah, that exactly. I don't know. However, that many lives they will take, or how many lives they'll take. I don't know the exact number of how many lives they will. But this is what is being told in scriptures, that if you involve in killing an animal without any right process, then we have to, the one who killed will have to suffer. Okay.
Yes.
So any other questions? Anybody?
Prabhuji, can you explain Bhuta Yajna again? Prabhuji, Bhuta means 5 elements. Prabhuji.
Yeah, here the Bhuta means the other living entities.
Other living.
Yeah. So here in this Pancha Mahayajna, the Bhuta is called the other living entities. So how to satisfy the Bhuta Yajna is, don't cause any harm to them. If possible, feed them with some foodstuffs. If not, then just stay away to kill them, or stay away making them to suffer. Just don't harm them. Stay away of harming the other animals. That itself satisfies the Bhuta Yajna, the different entities, living entities.
Thank you.
Welcome. So, any other questions? Anybody? If not, we will call it for today. We'll close the session. Okay. So, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today. I request you to join further sessions as well, because we'll continue the third chapter. Okay. So, thank you all. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyascha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. I wish and pray Krishna to bless all of those who have joined in this class today, to make them successful in all their future endeavors. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,